a big show for you today. I didn't actually want to do this show. I didn't want to watch my uncle's documentary, episode 4. I heard it was very sad. It was very sad. It was brutal to watch. But I told you guys I would do a review, so we are going to do a review. This is my reaction to the Hulk Hogan All American, or to the Hulk Hogan Real American documentary. Let me tap right here and get the chat going. All right, guys. All right, so just got here. What's up? All right, let me check this out 1 second. I'm on the wrong motherfucking thing, y'all. I'm on the wrong fucking thing. We're gonna get into all of it right now. Yeah, man. So they went into a lot of detail on that. Freaking episode 4 was brutal, y'all. A lot of embarrassing moments. My uncle was even talking about how the stuff that they put in there was embarrassing. It's yeah, man, it was not my favorite episode. I liked episodes 1 through 3 personally. And yeah, we're gonna get into all of it. We're gonna get into all the sordid details. We're gonna talk about everybody, all the women my uncle smashed that they brought up. We're gonna talk about the sex tape. They talked about divorce. They talked about injuries. They talked about politics. The president pulled up for an interview. He was on there singing my uncle's praises, which was nice to see. And Kevin Nash, aka Diesel, had some kind words as well. Big show tonight. Big show. I promised you guys I was going to watch this. I finally did. I was procrastinating. I didn't really want to watch it. It was sad. I don't want to remember my uncle in any kind of negative light. And this one had a lot of the low points in the documentary. I believe the documentary in the first 3 episodes was perfect. Great. Great. All the best moments, all the biggest hits, the come up, the inspiration, the American dream. Episode 4, man, it was well made. Okay, so shout out to the team that put it together. Even though I was not a fan of the events that took place, it's hard to watch your family go through that again and people you are related to go through that. Um Man, yeah, it was rough. It was rough, but it was well made. So I'm gonna put this in the chat real quick, guys. Make sure you get a real one shirt if you're only if you're a real one. Okay, don't be a weenie and try and cop one. Also, if you've not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I'm a little out of it today because yeah, man, that was brutal to watch. We got Arpon the Dawn in the chat. Let's go, real ones here. You know how we do. All right, so let's get right into it. Also, make sure you follow Fight Circus, home of the freak show fights. I've pro wrestled for them twice out there, and hopefully made my family proud. Okay, because my uncle was Hulk Hogan, the greatest professional wrestler of all time. My brother was Horace Hogan, big, big wrestling star in WCW, and my cousin through marriage was Mike Awesome. So I have a big pro wrestling family. Hopefully I made them proud when I pro wrestled a Fight Circus. You never know though, man. I played a character named Dong Master 3000. It got weird, man. They had me doing some outlandish stuff. So, okay, let's get right into it. So the Hulk Hogan Real American documentary on Netflix, episode 4 was brutal. Now, they talked about a lot of the women that my uncle has slept with. They talked about my cousin Brooke's friend that my uncle smashed. And, my uncle in the documentary reveals it differently, that it was more of a chaperone for Brooke. Brooke tells it differently. Brooke feels that was essentially her best friend. And my uncle, dude, yeah. So can you imagine? You're watching your family on Netflix. You're watching your family at the time in the news. They're on the cover of magazines at the grocery store. TMZ's talking all about them, all that. They had a reality show at the time, so some of the stuff in the reality show is you like as someone who's on both sides of the in front of the camera and not in front of the camera equation, you can see what's staged and what's not. But a lot of the stuff on the reality show was pretty brutal and less than ideal. And yeah, yeah, it's bizarre to watch a Netflix documentary going through the sordid details of your family's sex life. So that was bizarre to watch, guys. I was, they're re-bringing it up, right? We got to bring it up, I guess. Okay, gotta gotta add that in the documentary. Which I'm biased, so I'm not even sure if I'm able to watch the documentary correctly, if that makes any sense. Uh, yeah, and then they were bringing up my uncle's sex tape, which there's a lot of controversy over. One of my uncle's best friends at the time, his name was Bubba the Love Sponge, and Hulk was going through like a divorce, and he was uh his I guess his friend wanted to cheer him up, and his friend was a swinger, and so my uncle hooked up with Bubba's wife, which Bubba was cool with, right? You know, like, can you imagine this is all going on publicly? People in your family, okay? So we're rehashing it, guys. I told you I would review it. I'm a man of my word. My girlfriend, in fact, has a saying. She's from China. She's a fucking Chinese genius. She's a beauty pageant winner. Yeah, I mean, like a world level beauty pageant winner, and like a influencer, like all that. We're not going to get into it. She's got like 250,000 followers in China on her fucking TikTok or whatever. That's neither here nor there. But she has a saying, and in China they actually have a saying. It's called "Words and actions are one." So I try and live my life by that. And then when she told me that saying, I thought that was awesome because I was like, "Dang, that's kind of like they have a saying for that. That's cool." So I said I was gonna do this. I'm doing it. All right, but yeah. So they brought up the sex tape. They brought up my uncle smashing his friend's wife. And people say that Bubba leaked the sex tape. Some other people say my uncle did it as a publicity stunt. Um, my uncle did not do it as a publicity stunt. I can guarantee you that. Uh, as far as Bubba leaking the tape, the story that is closest to what I understand it to be is that Bubba had like an assistant at the time, and the assistant leaked the tape, allegedly. I know Bubba's also got a documentary out. I believe it's on the sex tape. I've not watched that documentary. Maybe we'll just go full fucking scandal. I'll watch that one too and react to it. But yeah, so that was bizarre to watch. And then an event that I know hurt my cousin was my uncle sleeping with her friend. And so that's tough to see on there, especially Brooke and I were texting the other day, and the sentiment of the family is we want to be more involved and closer because we're all very achievement oriented. It's like a trait in the family, so we're all very like in our lanes in a way. And she was sending me some sweet texts and stuff, and I thought that was nice. And then to see this going on the documentary, and I'm not female and it's not my dad, but I can only partially imagine what she's going through. Everybody's probably hitting her. It's fucking crazy. They also talked the divorce, which was less than ideal. I know my uncle had so much love for Linda, and Linda had so much love for him, and they had 2 children together. So that's always tragic. That was a rough one to see. Um, and then even to add, we're gonna get into all this. And I know I'm making it sound like it's horrible, man. To someone not uh from what's the word, like familial, without a familial relation to them, it's probably super easy and interesting to watch, I would imagine. But for me, it's just like, dang, dude, they just really focused on like a lot of stuff that seemed like regrets in a way. And this episode was like Hulk versus Terry. Like, where is the line drawn? Because Terry is my uncle's actual birth name, Terry Jean Balea. My name is David Balea, and they're like implying that he couldn't draw the line between the two, and that like you know, what do you regret? And he doesn't seem to have really many regrets at all, which is that's always good in life. Is you're not living a life of regret. But they did talk about a lot of injuries, and so in a bizarre being me, I'm watching Shane Gillis, the comedian, talk about my uncle on a YouTube video. And, you know, Shane Gillis is like essentially doing a podcast and they're talking about the Netflix documentary. And they're talking about the fact that my uncle implied that he used to be 6'8" and now he's 6'4" and he's shrunk 4 inches from doing leg drops, which that is not necessarily what my uncle was implying. My uncle has had like spinal fusions before he died, RIP. And you know, like hip replacements, knee replacements. He's probably had, I don't know, fucking 4 dozen surgeries or some crazy amount of surgeries like that. In the documentary, they actually show an x-ray of his spine compared to a normal spine. His spine was like, it looked like a fucking S and then crushed together. So when he talks about having lost 4 inches of height over time, it's from that, right? So it's not like, oh, I did leg drops and then the leg drops, every leg drop shrunk me. No, 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 no. It's two separate things. Leg drops caused injuries because doing leg drop after leg drop, the guy was 300 something pounds, you know what I mean? Jumping up in the air and landing on the same tailbone, the same hip bone every night, it fucks you up, right? Plus, you know, getting body slammed all the time, pile drivers, fucking thrown in and out of the ring. And yeah, so actually he did lose several inches in height due to the surgeries, the spinal fusions, the effect on his posture, and you know, not being able to fully extend like his knees and hips. His back, instead of being like this, is like this. So you see how that would add height and that would contract height. And if the discs are normal versus the discs being crushed together. So yeah, so Shane Gillis, that's that clarity on that. And you know, they talk politics because a big part of my uncle's career was being the real American. He was the essential All American. And near the end of his WWE career, and unfortunately, the end of his life, he spoke at the Republican National Convention, I believe, to endorse Trump. And the crowd went crazy. It like I remember watching my uncle do that, and dude, the crowd that was the biggest reaction out of anybody. My uncle got the biggest reaction, loudest cheers, people chanting, and even Trump talked about that. Trump left him a nice voice memo, and Trump was in the documentary again. Trump was talking about how my uncle is essentially, you know, he was the best pro wrestler ever, and he even left him a private voicemail informing him like that he got the best reaction out of anybody, and they have the best ratings ever for a convention. So even in the political sphere, my uncle was pulling viewers, you know, ultra, ultra, ultra charismatic, which we're going to get into this. This is more where I want to take the direction of this live tonight because I like to keep things in a positive light. But this documentary was fairly negative. Like, in they were pointing out negative things, right? It had a positive light to it, but the direction I'm going to take this tonight with you guys, if you will allow me to, is oh, I didn't even see. This is how discombobulated I am. My name is King David MMA. I'm a professional MMA champion, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I coach at Extreme Couture, the best gym in the world. And for the sake of this video, it's important that you know that I am Hulk Hogan's nephew. Okay, so there's my intro. A little late on the intro. Okay, I'm a little disoriented. All right. And if you're not subscribed, turn notifications. I'll make sure you like, comment. Yeah, I actually don't do that unless, like, I'm very into the real one philosophy. Like, I only want real people. So if you genuinely have a question, then leave a comment or hop in the chat, depending on. But if you're a weenie, a wussy, pencil neck geek, then I'm probably not going to take you seriously anyways. But yeah, so the direction I want to take the live in tonight is how people misinterpret reality, and then they compete in the wrong game, in the wrong lane. And I just saw this happen with Netflix and Ronda Rousey in the MMA fight promotion that happened last night with Jake Paul. I saw this my entire life happen with my uncle, where other people were critical of my uncle and they didn't even understand the game. Like other pro wrestlers, they didn't understand the game they were playing. And I see this in a lot of things. So there's going to be a teachable lesson tonight in all this. So yeah, Trump pulled up, and then Kevin Nash also had some nice words to say. Kevin Nash, big WWE star, formerly known as Diesel. He said, "There's one Hulk Hogan, and then there's everybody else. Like like he's in a category of his own." And you know, that's been my life experience. Haven't been related to him. Was that yeah, yeah, totally different lane. And that leads me to what I want to talk about now, which is understanding the rules of the game, understanding the game in which you're competing, understanding the metrics of success. So, for instance, there are pro wrestlers who were critical of my uncle because my uncle did not do pro wrestling moves the same way that they did pro wrestling moves. There were wrestlers that were critical of my uncle because they said my uncle was very theatrical and that he wasn't focused on the actual wrestling and that they were better wrestlers than him. The thing that they do not understand, even to this day, because I still see them complaining on YouTube about him, even which is kind of tacky, right? Like the man passed away. Let's say something nice for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, but they don't understand what they're competing in. So, for instance, when my uncle went over to WCW, the other WCW pro wrestlers were complaining about how much my uncle was making. And they were like, is he really going to sell that many more pay per views than we are? Is he really? But they don't even understand that the pay per view distribution switched when my uncle came over. It was 60% to the pay per view company, 40% to the WCW. They agreed that if WCW signs Hulk Hogan, they will take it from 60-40 to 50-50. That alone brings in tens of millions of dollars to the company. Right? So instead of like thinking in terms of like, I could be the champion because I can do a better Hurricane Rana, and people would want to watch a Hurricane Rana because it's a better move. They don't even know, like, that's not even the game, bro. The game is selling out arenas for 4 decades, pay per view deals, pay per view distribution, eyeballs, getting a politician elected, whether you like his political leanings or not. He was the most popular person at that candidate's convention. He got booed in LA for it because that's a blue state, right? And so they talk about that in the documentary. But even that, he's still over. You guys get it? You guys get it? Like that's what my uncle was about, was eliciting emotions. He wasn't about like, hey man, who should get the title shot because they can do a good Hurricane Rana. No, dude, it's like who can connect with the audience? Who can get the audience to emotionally invest? So near the end of the documentary, they imply that my uncle was upset that LA booed him. He knew LA would boo him. The only thing that I was shocked to see, because I saw this live when it actually happened in LA, was that my uncle didn't read the crowd and switch. Like he could tell they were booing. You know what I mean? But like he gave me a piece of advice after a pro fight, right? It was him and my brother, the pro wrestler known as Horace. It was after my pro debut in Tampa, Florida. And they came backstage and they were talking to me. And my uncle told me, he said, man, because I was on the mic trying to get the crowd to see things my way, trying to big up the guy I fought. The guy I fought was a local guy. They were never going to cheer for me. And so I was saying nice things about the guy I fought, and they just booed me louder and louder. It's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get up. That's what makes you a champion. And Jesse Lawrence is a champion. I know he'll be back. Boo! Just boo, boo, boo. And when they came in the back, my uncle and my brother, two pro wrestlers, they were like, bro, when they're booing, you gotta lean into that. So that's what I was actually shocked about, that my uncle didn't lean into the boos at in LA. I would have expected him to, which now we're getting challenging, right? Because there is his off-camera Terry Bollea who endorses Trump, and then there was Hulk Hogan, the character, who may not have a political allegiance, right? And so when he went out as Terry, but he was in character as Hulk, ripping his shirt open at the convention for Trump, now we blurred the lines. So we pull up to LA, right? And in LA, he's getting booed. But that was based on behavior of his real life, not based on his character. But then he was in kind of in character, right? Like he was in character. So his character now has appeared at a Republican event for a Republican candidate, and he's in a blue state. So what is the correct pro wrestling move? Is it to go full Republican? I would say that at that moment, and this is the difference, I don't have 40 years of being a fucking pro wrestling mega star. So maybe my uncle knew something that I didn't understand in the moment, and I would default my judgment to his. But in the moment, I was surprised that he didn't go all in and turn on the crowd. Oh, you want American socialists? Like maybe that's the new lane for Hulk Hogan, is like ultra MAGA. Right now he's MAGA Hulk or something, you know what I mean? And then later he could switch back if he wants, right? And that's pro wrestling, is that you can flow with the tone of the crowd, right? And then that would be crazy, because usually pro wrestlers are either over as a face or they have heat as a heel. This would be a situation where in certain cities he would be over, and in certain cities he would have major, major, major heat. So I would have thought that would have been interesting at that time. So that's kind of the most fascinating thing that I saw in the whole episode 4 of the documentary. And yeah, that was that one I was shocked by. And I wish, just for selfish reasons, that I would have been able to ask him about that and get his feedback on that. But yeah, so that I found that to be fascinating, and how this correlates to Ronda Rousey and MVP Jake Paul and the MMA world is that I see people posting that it was not a competitive fight, that these women are not ranked in the top 10 globally, but like that's not what this is. People are now talking about Brock Lesnar fighting Francis Ngannou, and there's these MMA hardcore fans, some of whom watch my shit, right? And I'm also I'm a fucking black belt and a pro MMA champion. I'm a hardcore MMA fan, but I also understand the reality of the space that we're navigating, which is Francis Ngannou versus Brock Lesnar would do numbers. That's the bottom line. So if you are in the eyeballs and attention business, that is an excellent fucking fight. Even though the fight itself, from a martial arts perspective, would most likely not be excellent, the game of generating revenue as a promotion is not always a one-to-one correlation between who is the best. For example, there's been several times in the UFC where two of the top fighters on the planet have a boring fight because they were playing human chess and they were feinting, and to the crowd they look like they're stalling, not doing anything, and they don't want to hit each other. Well, they're trying to make reads. Well, time is ticking, as opposed to two drunk dudes in street beefs on YouTube, and then that gets 10, 15 million views. What's the difference? Is that the average person isn't looking for the purity of martial arts. The average person isn't tuning into WWE to see the purest Hurricane Rana, right? And so there's a skill set, a natural talent, a charisma, a je ne sais quoi, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, involved with what my uncle was able to do over his career. It's never been matched. And everything in WWE is built off the foundation that he created. He built it. Everybody else gets to go be excellent moving forward because of it. But I did like that the documentary kind of pointed that out, that as big of stars as we have had after Hulk, this is all like the house that Hulk built. Which, you know, let's say The Rock got more movie stardom than Hulk did. That's good because Hulk built the platform for The Rock to fucking launch. You get what I'm saying? So they can respect each other in that. Hey, in the 80s, there was no platform. Hulk built the platform. In the 2000s, Rock took the platform and went to another level of movie star fame, right? And those are two different lanes, but they're both based on the same groundwork. So I thought that was kind of cool that they were big up in my uncle in that regard. Also, man, they featured my cousin Nick a lot, and dude, I can only imagine how tough it would be to take part in that documentary as Nick. But I believe a lot of it was filmed before his passing. Some of it was filmed after. They have like a kind of sad scene in there where Nick is working out in my uncle's gym without my uncle because he passed away, and that's like, dude, I feel for the dude, man. That's rough. Fuck. And I also heard that through the grapevine that Nick had a lot of Nick did a lot of work on the documentary. So they from a entertainment perspective, like it's really well done. So if you guys are into pro wrestling, if you guys are into Hulk Hogan, certainly watch the first 3 episodes. I personally could do without the fourth episode, but the fourth episode was like a different look at some of the controversy that my uncle was involved in, not only as Hulk Hogan but in his personal life as well. And yeah, it's fascinating to me how even right now, like I've got people talking to me about, oh, Netflix didn't sell tickets because the Netflix card for the MMA event with Ronda Rousey, there was not a sold out event. But that's not the metric that they're going by. They're going by like, how can we build a star-studded event on Netflix to capture eyeballs and watch time? And so the same star, the same marketing that they're going to put in to getting the Netflix deal done may not be the same star that they need to sell tickets to the event. I believe that there's a clear path to selling tickets to the Netflix event for MMA. That's outside the scope of this video. I can do a video on that later. But yeah, I think that a lot of people don't even understand the game we're playing. And I think my uncle did better than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. And yeah, so it was cool to see them talk about that. And I was really, really, really appreciative of the kind words that Kevin Nash said. So, anyways, we got John Hogan in the chat saying, "Hi, everyone. I'm highly caffeinated, but um, I did an experiment today, guys. I didn't go full 1,000 caffeine max. I'm like 500. Most people would say that's very, very extremely high. I would say it's pretty high, right? Let me read the chat. Metal Ben's Chronicles. Hey man, how are you? I'm awesome. How are you doing? Yeah, so We're talking episode 4 of the Hulk Hogan documentary on Netflix. I am not a fan of episode 4, but I understand why it would be intriguing and engaging to other people. But it was just like, it's crazy, man. Like, I'm watching the fucking president talk about my uncle. Well, they were just talking about my uncle's sex tape. It's like, dude, what the fuck is going? Hulk lived such a fucking amazing, incredible, wild life. Like, to have the president of the United States on your Netflix documentary, it's like, dude, it's hard to even put into words how roller coastery of the highest highs and the lowest lows he must have felt in his life. Because dude, yeah. And then it was a very sentimental moment when they said, when are you the happiest? And he was like talking about when he was with his family and his children. So that was nice to see as well. So I thought it was well done. Super fucking sad to watch, hard to watch. I had to walk away at one point. I took a break from watching it. It was brutal, man. For me at least. So, anyways, I said I would do the review. I reviewed it. And yeah, I'm probably never gonna watch episode 4 again. I will probably rewatch episodes 1 through 3. I got so cooked by the brutality of watching it that I forgot to even introduce myself in this video. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now people are gonna tap the live and they're gonna go, "Who's this dude talking?" And I'm not even gonna give them the context. So like 20 minutes in, that Hulk's my uncle. You know what I mean? So anyways, it had me cooked, had me shook, had me chopped and screwed. Brutal. Ah, man. And they were talking about all the most embarrassing moments. My uncle's talking about how he's embarrassed. Like, dude, like, can we get back to body slamming Andre the Giant, please, guys? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna rewatch episodes 1 through 3, and yeah, I'm gonna show episodes 1 through 3 to my girlfriend so she can understand who Hulk is better. Because when we were in Florida together recently, he had already passed away, so she didn't get an opportunity to meet him, and it's hard to put it in perspective to someone who has not met him. Like, I'm talking ultra charisma. I'm talking everywhere we go, recognized, stopped, just uh, like ultra celebrity. So I'm personally in a weird space where if I currently right now, if I like go to like Walmart to buy a dry erase board, which I upgraded the studio, I have a dry erase board now. So I'm gonna start writing fucking like little bullet points on there so we can like I got a whole plan. So studio's getting upgraded, but like I typically would not be recognized at a Walmart. But if I go to an MMA event, well now people are like, oh dude, like it's like two different worlds. Well, my uncle didn't have that. He had like one world and it was times like 100,000,000 where everywhere he went was famous. And he was famous. And I took my girlfriend to my uncle's like bar and restaurant out there in Clearwater, and she loved the shrimp salad. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dang, man. Like I really wish that she would have got to meet him. And it was kind of crazy because I was trying to explain to her like how large of a human being he was, even though he had had all those spinal surgeries and hip replacements and everything. Just his bone structure was huge. Like if you shake hands with somebody, you see how my fingers extend past the palm of my hand, right? So that's a normal handshake. When I shook my uncle's hand, it would be like this. Like my fingers didn't reach the bottom of his catcher's mitt, big giant paw of a hand. When he's sitting like this, his forearm looks it's like a dinosaur bone, dude. We're not going to talk about the fact that dinosaurs were probably actually dragons. That's a different life. Okay. Yeah, I'm saying. What shape is the Earth actually? Anyways, but yeah. So his forms look like dinosaur bones, and so I'm trying to explain this to her. But it's different just in words rather than being around someone and just observing like, oh, that's not a normal human being right there. There's something very, very special and different about this person. So anyway, let me read the chat. I miss him. Your uncle was iconic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's rough, man. And then the good news is he has a lot of content that we can look back on and remember the highlights and the good moments and the iconic. He's got so many fucking iconic moments. Like, dude, one of my favorites is Hulk versus The Rock, when The Rock was the babyface and my uncle was supposed to be the heel, and then the crowd started chanting and cheering for my uncle, and then mid-match, because they're both fucking consummate professionals, they're experts in their field, they switched mid-match, and then my uncle became the babyface and Rock became the heel. The only thing I wish is that my uncle would have got the pin on that one. That would have been fucking crazy. Even if they would have had him, you know, drop a match to The Rock right after that or something. I thought that would have been cool. But I'm biased as fuck. So that's like one of my favorites. And then there's also, I believe it was in Toronto when my uncle came back out, and I think they cheered for him. I believe it was either 17 minutes straight, standing ovation for 17 minutes. Yeah, that one was fucking legendary. And then I showed this one to people. I showed this to my buddy who owns Fight Circus as well. I was like, look at this, and it's Hulk, The Rock, and Stone Cold, and they're in the ring together. The three biggest icons ever, and they're not even wrestling. And that's kind of to my point of what I was talking about earlier, where people forget, like they don't, not that they forget, they don't understand what they're doing. My uncle, The Rock, and Stone Cold can get into a wrestling ring, and not wrestle and be over. The crowd can love them. The crowd can be entertained. It can be the highest rated event on television at the time, with them just interacting with each other. That's the art of pro wrestling. It's not just the Hurricane Ranas. Yes, that's a great one. Being a huge fan, I was so happy seeing him back in 2002. Yeah, so yeah, I show people that match with The Rock, and I show them The Rock, Stone Cold, and my uncle, to try and give people an understanding of what I believe pro wrestling to actually be, which is a connection with the crowd, with the connection with the audience, which is eliciting emotions, which is generating investment, getting people to buy in, and that, dude, I could rewatch that like 1,000 times. And that, like, to me, on a pause, is beautiful. Pause. Like, we're super, like, you guys are getting me emotional as shit over here, man. Fuck, dude. Like it's so iconic. Like, he's my uncle. He's my dad's little brother, by blood uncle. But I'm also a fan. I'm such a fan of Hulk Hogan's character and his ability to fucking, like, I'm in awe. It's like, it's wild being related to somebody you're also in awe of their character. It's just, dude, such an icon, such a legend. And he inspires me to be better at post-fight speeches, because I've gone viral a couple times for post-fight speeches. I like to fight MMA, and then I like to get on the mic and cut pro wrestling promos after. So that's kind of my thing. And I always try and channel my inner Hulk when I do it. I'm like, oh man, um, what would Hulk do here? And so yeah, I like those. And then I've been trying to find the full, and maybe it's on Netflix and I can find it on there in some kind of like WWE library or something. I want to find the full Toronto walkout. I believe it was Toronto, right, where they clapped and standing ovation for, like, it was either like 14 or 17 minutes or something like that. I want to find that one. I haven't found it on YouTube recently. Last time I looked for it, it was not on there. So maybe it got taken down. Maybe it got re-uploaded. I'm gonna go look for that after I get off this live tonight. But yeah, so if you guys have not seen those moments, look up Hulk versus Rock full match. That one's fucking great, especially if you can get the version where they tell the whole story around it. That's like that's like legendary pro wrestling lore. If you can get the video of my uncle Stone Cold and The Rock in the ring, that one's epic. That just shows that's like a different side of pro wrestling. It shows what pro wrestling can be when the characters have stories around them and they have the ability to elicit emotion from the crowd. That to me is the most like iconic example of that. And then yeah, the Toronto walkout, just to be like a can you imagine walking out to a crowd of 18, 20,000 people and them just cheering for you for like 15 minutes straight? Like, how many memories you must have given them, how invested they must be, how much connection you must have created in their life. Like, it's fucking amazing. Anyways, guys, that's the live for tonight. I love you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for everybody in the chat. I'm looking to connect, so I really appreciate it when you guys hop in the chat. Oh, I got a new message. Let me see what's up. He inspires me also and has since 84. Yeah, man. RIP Hulkster. You'll be missed, brother. And guys, go back and watch episodes 1 through 3 of the Hulk Hogan documentary. And let's remember him in that light, and let's remember the iconic uprise of Hulk Hogan, and let's all be inspired by it. I love you guys tonight. Good night.